Some big surprises in week 6. It's time for my 5 takeaways from week 6 of the 2025 college football season. We didn't really have any huge games, no top 10 matchups or anything like that. It was some pretty good games, and some games that turned out to be not as close as maybe you'd hoped. Maybe you'd hoped for some better games, but there were plenty of really good games this weekend. And again, some huge surprises. Let's just jump right in. And we will start with my first takeaway. I think Miami might be the best team in the country. This team is really, really good. Now, the talent has been there. Mario Cristobal has recruited. They've built the trenches, the offensive and defensive lines, and now everything around those areas is coming together. You've got Carson Beck, an elite quarterback. Starting to wonder if maybe last year wasn't on him at Georgia, because he's playing really good football here at Miami. Malachi Toney, the freshman, big-time receiver. C.J. Daniels stepping up. So a couple of newcomers helping them out in the pass game, which the offense wasn't the problem last year. It was the defense. The defense so much better this year. They really dominated that game against Florida State. I know Florida State kind of came back late and made, the score wasn't. I don't think the score really indicates how much Miami dominated that game. Their defensive line was getting after it. Offense, big plays. I was really impressed with this Miami team. Because they are such a complete team. I look at them and I look at Oregon. These are the best two teams, the most complete teams, in my opinion, at this point. Ohio State might have the best defense, but their offense has not quite come together yet. If it does, watch out. Maybe Ohio State has the most potential in the country. But to me, these are the teams. And so, yeah, between Miami and Oregon, it's hard to say who the best team is right now. I think Miami has the best resume with another big-time win that they got here over Florida State. So, yeah, that's a big takeaway for me, is that Miami might be the best team in the country. And that is not something that I thought I'd be saying at this point. I didn't think Miami was going to be a bad team. I thought they were going to be a good team. But the best team, and it's not just how good they've been, it's also how bad some of these other teams have been. And let's just go right into it. Texas and Penn State are both frauds, and I was fooled. I think most people were fooled here with these two teams. Almost everyone had really high expectations for Texas and Penn State. I was wrong. I thought these were the two best teams in the country, and they're both just not really that good. Texas is a talented team. But Arch Manning is the issue there. I mean, you can see the potential. You can see some throws he makes that are just unbelievable. But then you see him he's so inconsistent, just missing throws, inaccurate, bad decisions. There at the end of that game, the announcers, I don't know how many times they kept saying, "Oh man, if he could have that back, he had a guy wide open." Like, I don't know what it is with Arch Manning, but he is struggling. Then with Penn State, I don't think Drew Aller played horrible in this game against UCLA. This was more about the defense, and I don't think they were prepared. I know UCLA had new coordinators, and maybe they didn't know what to expect. Nico Iamaleava is a great, not a great player. He's a talented player, a capable player who hasn't done a whole lot this season, but you saw that he has the tools, and I thought him using his legs was huge in this game. That's just. Yes, he can run the football, but I don't think and I'll be honest, I haven't really watched UCLA much this year, but at Tennessee, he didn't run the ball a ton, but he really kind of put this offense, he carried them with his legs a lot in this game. Was really impressed with UCLA, but for Penn State, you cannot lose a game like this. You just can't. And it's over for Penn State. I'm sorry. It is over. This team is not going to make the college football playoff. They're not going to beat Indiana and Ohio State. I just do not see that happening. They're just not as good as we thought they were. I really don't know what the issue is. It's kind of like with Clemson. I don't know what it is. With Texas, I think it's really mostly about Arch and also his receivers. Maybe not as good as what they had last year. They're not running the football as well. Maybe the offensive line is the issue there. I don't know. Now, they were playing a talented Florida team. They were on the road, so I don't blame Texas as much. Still, though, if they're an elite team, they go in there and they find a way to win that game. But the Penn State one really was a head scratcher. I didn't see that one coming. I did say on my expectations video last week there would be an upset, a huge upset that nobody saw coming this week, and that happened. And that was the one. It was Penn State, UCLA. So yeah, both of these teams, I don't know. I don't really have any answers. I don't know what the deal is. I'd love to hear from all of you. Why do you think Texas and Penn State have struggled so much? And is it maybe just the fact that they were never that good and they were just overrated coming into the season? I have a hard time with that when you see everything that they did last year and everything they had coming back. It's I don't understand it. But both of these teams, I think you can go ahead and take them out of the playoff. I don't think either team. I mean, they would pretty much have to run the table. I do not see that happening. They would have to have a major turnaround from what we've seen so far. So let's go to number 3. Texas Tech continues to separate from the rest of the Big 12. A lot of people worried about them going on the road and playing Houston, but they dominated. They took care of business. 35-11. Game was not close at all. But then this is not just about Texas Tech. It's also about the rest of the Big 12. Baylor, Kansas State, 1-point game. Cincinnati, Iowa State, close game. We saw TCU, Colorado in a close game. Kansas, UCF in a close game. All these teams in the Big 12 are pretty even, and parity is huge in college football overall, but we really saw it. We always see it in the Big 12. But the thing with Texas Tech is, they won easily against Utah and now against Houston. And, you wonder, can anyone really compete with Texas Tech in the Big 12? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a game or two where they have a close game. They might even lose a game. But consistently overall, this Texas Tech team, I think they have kind of separated in the Big 12. So really impressed with them again this week. That was a big takeaway for me. Again, not just that Texas Tech is that good, but the rest of the Big 12 is just, I mean, it is complete parity. I think maybe we see Arizona State rise up and get a little bit closer to that Texas Tech level. I think that team has the potential. Other than Arizona State, though, I don't know. Maybe we see BYU do it. They haven't really been tested yet. I don't know. It's very interesting. Big 12 is going to be fun to see. I think who winds up playing Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. And how about defense? Defense is winning right now in college football. If you look at the top teams, they all have really good defenses, and they're winning these games with their defenses playing really well. Ohio State again this week, defense played great. Texas A&M's defense played really great. Go back to the Oregon-Penn State game. That was a low-scoring defensive game. You can go across the board and see the teams at the top, their defenses are playing really, really well. And that's a big takeaway for me because, how many of the big games have we seen really be like shootouts? I don't know if we've seen that much. I go back to Notre Dame, Texas A&M early in the season. Maybe there's been a few here and there, but it seems like most of these games are lower scoring and the elite teams are playing great defense. So that's just kind of a big picture takeaway that I've noticed so far this season. It was actually, honestly, it was kind of hard to do a video this week because there wasn't a lot to take away if we put Texas and Penn State together in one slide, and then we had, of course, Miami. But it's most of this week went about how we expected. But also, let's talk about Bill Belichick for just a second. This Bill Belichick experiment has failed. North Carolina is awful. I think this is possibly, other than Oklahoma State, and it could be a close battle, this might be the worst Power 4 team. I'd love to see North Carolina and Oklahoma State play to see just which team is the worst Power 4 team, because they're both really bad. But North Carolina is just, this team is terrible. Clemson came out right away, punched them in the mouth, blew them out. North Carolina really hasn't been competitive in their 3 games against Power 4 opponents at all. Again, this team is just bad. And, I think Bill Belichick, maybe this offends some people, I think he was an overrated coach of the NFL. I think Tom Brady made Bill Belichick. I don't think he was a bad coach, but I don't think he's as good as what he gets credit for. And I always thought it was a weird move to go coach college football. It's just, I never really thought it was going to work. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. But yeah, I think it's safe to say this experiment, it has failed, and North Carolina is an absolutely terrible football team this year. So again, had to come up with something here for my 5 takeaways. Would love to get your takeaways. Let me know what you thought about week 6 down in the comments below.